Hello everybody. I'm just doing a little bit of work on the Nimblewill Nomad's wood burning stove. Printed off the PDF template. It's part of the wood stove review project. And the nice thing about this templates are they come through and they've got each of the different sizes. Now I printed this onto sticky paper so that I'll be able to very easily stick it right onto the 26 gauge steel that I have for this stove and lay it out, and then that will allow me to keep the pieces and keep everything aligned real well, and then pull it off. And if there's a little bit sticky, I'm not going to worry about it because that will burn right off. So to get started, I'm just going to well, I've got the template for the bottom. For the back, each of the sides, they're slightly different, I believe. Well, actually they look exactly, well, the slot is reversed on them. That's the only difference. And then on the front, it actually shows some variations. You can just cut it off a short one, which is shown in this picture, if you can see it. And then that leaves a big open square, or you can cut the whole thing out and have a little air vent down here. And so I probably am going to cut out the whole thing and try the little air vent first, so I can always cut it off, but it'd be harder to put it back on. So get started and let me just start cutting these pieces out. That will take care of the cutting. So the next thing that we can do is lay this out on the sheet, and hopefully it's not reflecting too bad. It's reflecting in my eyes. Hopefully it's not reflecting in the camera. Let me lay this down for a second. If we look at this sheet, I think the little Lego man is optional, so we're not going to include that. But notice there's a big gap around here, and actually if you look at the bottom, that's pretty good sized. I'm wondering if it's going to be hard to keep the fire contained in one area, or if it's just going to spread all over this whole thing. I did notice that I had a little extra room. So if we look at the extra room in both the sticky label paper and in the metal sheeting here, and if you look at this front, optional front they call it, they've got all these different sizes that you could do and everything. So I think I cut this one bigger so I can cut a full-size one out of here. But I also went ahead and cut another piece that's just the size of this top one. And I cut another one that is just the size of this whole sheet. And what I might do is on one of these I'm going to cut out just this air vent as it is here. The other one I'm probably going to cut a little bit bigger hole so that we have some sort of access panel into here for feeding the wood without having to try to take this whole thing off. So we'll see how that goes. So laying this all out, unfortunately, no matter how I've laid it, I haven't quite been able to get 3 across here, so I'm going to have some wasted space. But I'm going to lay these out so that I'm using as little as possible. Probably go something like this, maybe even like this. Just some way so that it will all use the material well. Yeah, probably something along those lines. I will have some wasted space, but that's what I got this for. So there we go. Now we've got all of the pieces cut out. So there will be the back. That'll be an optional front. That'll be another optional front. This will be a front. We will have the bottom piece here, and we have a left and right, and they are identical, so it doesn't really matter which side they go on. And we'll have all the pieces. So all I really have left is I need to cut these air slots out, Need to cut these notches here for the plates and these slots here for everything to go through, and then drill out these holes for a couple pins, and we'll have a stove.
I then moved out to the garage where I used the drill press to drill a large hole in each end of the air vent. If I was to do this again, I think I would drill these holes before I cut it out. It would be easier to work with. I then switched to a smaller drill bit and drilled the small pinholes that are on each side of the bottom plate. Using a Dremel tool, I just cut a small notch in each one of the slots as a starter hole so that I could run my jigsaw through it later. And I let that run through and cut to the final edges and got the final pins out. I then cut in between those large holes that I had drilled in the air slots to open those up on the back, front, and sides. And then I just freehanded a larger hole that I could use for filling wood or feeding wood on the optional front. I used a hammer and just smashed down all of the smoothed out all the edges, got rid of any small bends or burrs or those types of things. And then just using my small hand drill or hand grinder, I cleaned up the edges, went over all of the slots, the air vents, and the notches on the top, just to make sure that everything was nice and clean. I finished then up with just a hand file where anything that was left open, or especially the opening of the slots where the hand grinder couldn't get to, just clean those up and made sure that they all fit nicely in there. At that point, it was basically done, and it was just a matter of going back and assembling the whole thing and seeing how it worked. I did try to put as much as possible the label paper towards the inside, because I'm going to hopefully be able to burn that off when I get ready to run the stove within at least a couple of the first burns. That will work out well. And did see that the side pieces are the same, and because I put the labels on, they're both on the left side as we look at it. So one is on the inside, one's on the outside. We'll see how those burn off. And then it's just a matter of walking through, and I wanted to try each of the three optional fronts. This is the open one, so there's a very large box opening. And then trying the next one, I noticed it's actually exactly like the back one, so I have a spare on the back if I ever need it, but otherwise I've got a choice of three optional doors or front plates that I can use on there. And it's a little bit tight right now, but I think that's going to open up easily as we go through it. And once I have it in there and notched, it holds it together very well. It didn't fall apart at all, so I was very happy with that. And then, of course, it was a very windy day when I got out and got able to try it, and took a little bit to get it started. And had to use a little bit of lighter fluid, but after that it burned really well.